Ah, that big old girl do the monkey rub. He talks about doing something called a monkey rub. What the is a monkey rub? Down between the sheets, I do the monkey rub. Pull down those black silk stockings down. Well, I'm going to lick all around those stretch marks. The only way this would be better is if they let him call himself Tim Buckley.
Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex. My name is Michael Mansour. I'm joined, as always, by my tropical as hell co-host, Alexander Volt. Say hello.
Hello. I was going to wear a different shirt, but then I'll talk as to why I wore this one.
Please do.
Yeah.
This is Every Album Ever, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. That's a whole new discography per episode. And today we'll be discussing every album by
Tim Buckley.
Tim Buckley. This is requested on Patreon by Nick. Nick, thank you so much for hanging out with us and being a part of our community here and giving us your money, and also requesting an artist that I intended to do 3 years ago, I think.
Sure. Also, looking at the episode numbers, we're 100 episodes away from 2 Live Crew. Right?
From 2 Live. Wait. Oh, that's right.
Our 2 Live
was episode 60. Yeah, 2 Live Crew was episode 69. We're at 169.
That's fucking nuts.
That is, we are 2 years out from having done that. That's fucking, oh my God, we've done it too long. We've done it too long. But we also did Jeff Buckley way back in the Skype days, in lockdown days. Mm-hmm. And my original goal was like, I like things chronological. I want to cover Tim and then Jeff because I'm a psychopath and it doesn't make any sense. I'm just neurotic. But it was, we all were already fans of Jeff.
Yes.
It was a very simple 2-album discography, 1.5 album discography. So we're like, fuck it. We'll just do Jeff and we'll get to Tim whenever. Never got around to Tim until someone said, here's money, get around to Tim. And now look at this. We heard every album. How do you like Tim?
What a ride.
What a ride, right?
What a fucking ride.
I love Tim Buckley.
Yeah. I may not love everything, but
I love everything. No.
I'm glad I took this ride. And the reason I went with the Flint Tropic shirt is because I wasn't expecting a man who died way too young at the age of
28
to have 3 eras of music.
3 eras in 9 years of the entire career was 9 years
and
or 9 albums.
The last era was dubbed sex funk.
I didn't know that's what they called it. I knew it was funky, obviously. I didn't know it was called sex funk.
And I'm like, yeah, this is like shit Jackie Moon from Semi Pro would listen to. Fucking Love Me Sexy. So
there we go. And there we go.
Yes.
God damn.
Also, it's heating up over here in Los Angeles.
It's getting, this is the first day I felt warm since the entire year.
It's actually cold the other day.
It was legitimately cold. It was cloudy and cold and raining a little bit. It's just whatever. We're going to die soon. But Tim Buckley, man, it was also a very silly mistake of mine to think that like, oh, well, they're father and son, therefore they're very closely related when they're like completely estranged. They met one time. Jeff kind of held a grudge for a long time against Tim for being estranged and, kind of dipping out and not playing the part of dad. And then so you get that side of it. And then you read some interviews and then you hear some other stuff and some songs like, oh, there is also Tim's side of it, which was like, yeah, he definitely took off on his kid and his ex-wife, but there's also like some guilt there, and it was like his lifestyle as a musician wouldn't allow him to be there as much as he wanted. It was like a lot of like, it's more complicated than he just took off and disappeared forever.
Motherfucker was too busy having sex in the last 4 years.
The last 4 years. That's all his fault. That's all it was all that sex funk.
Yeah.
No excusing that. But the first few, all right.
Four, you're more complicated. The sex funk, no excuse.
No excuse. So yeah, no mystery there. He died young, died at 28 from heroin overdose.
Yeah. I believe he snorted it.
Yeah, he might have thought it was Coke or something.
Yeah.
And there was like a whole thing with the friend who gave it to him, whose name was Richard Keeling.
Yes.
And he was charged with like
accidental manslaughter and distribution.
Yeah, that's right. I think he got off though.
He did 120 days.
Okay.
Which if you watch shitty reality TV shows, is 2 seasons of 60 days in. So
yeah. But to be fair though, 4 months that'll change your perspective on things.
Oh, it absolutely will. I think 1 week in prison will
definitely. Also, if you're a convicted felon, good luck getting a job afterward. I don't think things were. I think
the system is really not set up for these people to succeed when they get out.
No, it's very messy.
Unless you're rich, then it doesn't matter.
Well, then you don't even need a fucking job at Walgreens or whatever. But so it was pretty iffy, kind of shitty death. But I don't remember who it was, but they were saying like it was gonna happen eventually. Like if it wasn't this particular way he went out, it was something similar and soon. He was a big drug guy, big drinker. He was probably severely depressed on the road. He broke, unsuccessful, from beginning to end, unsuccessful.
You mean the guy singing about big brown nipples is not mentally stable?
I don't see anything wrong with that.
I don't either.
Who doesn't love big brown nipples, Alex? As a man with big brown nipples, like, nah. But
most of my exes are Latino, so that's going to throw that out there.
Hell yeah. You put those pieces together yourself, bud. So definitely not the most, easy go of it. Yeah, I think his last album, he was dropped immediately after that. And then he died shortly after. Elektra
was like, we're tired of the sex funk.
They weren't around for the sex funk. They were around for the first of the sex funk albums. But then it was after that. It was the straight records. So huge overlap with Frank Zappa. I mean, the overlap with Frank Zappa is never ending. We have an interview with longtime collaborator and guitarist Lee Underwood from Jam Magazine in 2007. We got it from our boy Tom Osman, who you can find on all the places Tom Osman Sounds and TomOsmanSounds.com. He does all our history for us, and he works miracles at every album ever. We are a better podcast for him, because of him, or something like that.
There it is.
There we go. Yeah, the overlap with Frank Zappa is bizarre. Almost every album, there's like several members that would play with Zappa or the Mothers of Invention or both. The labels were either co-owned by Zappa or re-released by someone affiliated with a label that Zappa was on. And then certain moments you could hear like, oh, I could see that's Zappa. That would make perfect sense that Zappa is involved in this.
Yeah, when it starts to get interesting.
Yes,
I could see that. I wouldn't even be. I didn't look it up, but I wouldn't even be surprised if like people from Beefheart pop up. And
I forget exactly, but that it would make even more perfect sense because of Jeff Buckley, the dude who collaborated on Grace.
Did have someone.
Yeah, I forgot which era of the Magic Band he was in, but he was a Beefheart collaborator, and he co-wrote the best Jeff Buckley songs.
Yes, and continuing like the weird, like the connection to weird artists. On one album, Tom Waits wrote a song.
That's right. Was it just a cover? I think it was just a cover, right? Actually, it was a cover. Okay. It was a bizarre cover because the original was released like a few months before or something like that. Like, so that's very unusual.
Yeah, I was like the cadences are very Tom Waits like, but was he even around? Yeah, I guess he was.
The song was released I think a few months before this Tim's version, which is very interesting. So some of the stuff we have here, it's kind of starting backwards and working way to the beginning, but it's the relationship between Jeff and Tim, and that's a very interesting one, and it's obviously super sad, but This is what Lee Underwood said about it.
It is one of musical history's great ironies that Jeff often bitterly criticized his father in interviews and on stage. After all, Tim left Jeff's mother before Jeff was born and was not a father who shared Jeff's life as Jeff grew up, so his anger was understandable.
Yeah, he says that Jeff admired Tim musically and listened to all his albums, and of course learned, got a lot from the crazy Tim albums that we will discuss when we get to them. There's two very obviously crazy albums amongst this fairly digestible discography. But he apparently incorporated dozens of Tim's technical approaches to singing and blended them with his own originality.
I can hear it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Because in this, even though Tim didn't really hit any success, any real like mainstream success, his voice was known. His voice was the thing of godliness. And you hear him now, it's like, oh yeah, he was an amazing singer, but he's not like amazing by today's standards where we have like American Idol singers where everyone is just a fucking virtuoso and perfect technique and opera singers. He's not like that.
In terms of like diversity and technique, it's fucking, it's all over the place.
It is wild. Cause like when you hear him, maybe in the earlier stuff, it's like, oh, he's a higher registered folk singer, really pretty falsettos, and he has a strong, really heavy vibrato, really like shaky, heavy vibrato. But as it goes on, he gets bolder and louder and crazier and takes way more chances, and until his voice is like it's a thing of beauty. It's an angel's voice, absolute angel's voice.
I thought of so many different singers just listening to him.
Yeah.
Like it's
not even just Jeff.
Yeah.
But then you hear Jeff and he is still the fucking goat. I mean, to me, Jeff is still the goat.
Oh, for sure.
But you still hear like, oh, that's where he does the super duper whiny stuff. Like he took that from Tim, maybe not like intentionally, but he has that in him.
Yeah.
And then did his own version of it, which I actually do like more than Tim's. But Lee goes on to say, he says, when Jeff recorded Grace, he became a beloved international star, which drew attention to his father's 9 studio albums and thereby gave Tim new musical vitality. Thousands of young listeners discovered Tim through Jeff's work. The two of them are now forever linked in the annals of music history. It's a poignant story, touching and beautiful, and Tom adds, pretty tragic too. Insanely tragic.
I got like a feeling hit me in my gut right now, just like thinking about that.
It's insane because I read some interviews with Jeff and like when you ask him about his dad, obviously he's very like not dismissive, but he's like, he wasn't around. I didn't get as much as you think I got from him. I got it from my mom and my stepdad. That's where the music stuff came from. I just happened to sound like him because we're same DNA.
Yeah.
But the fact that now again, before doing the Jeff Buckley episode, I assumed, he learned everything from his dad and they're both crazy good singers and musicians. Obviously they're connected. They're not connected. It just happened to turn out in history that they are now connected because of just the bizarre nature of both of their musical careers.
The name, and also so crazy with the name like Buckley, like I assumed when he's like, oh, my dad was a singer, I was like, probably does country music. Right?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And no, this is not, unless you count like folk kind of being close to country.
It's
no
adjacent.
Country.
It's not country though.
I like adjacent.
Yeah, I assumed it was country too, but I mean, looking at even where he's from, he's born in DC, I believe.
I was not expecting this man to grow up in Bell Gardens, California.
He grew up a stone's throw from where we are.
Yes.
It's them and Slayer or something.
Yeah.
Or him and Slayer.
And the Gun Club.
The Gun Club.
Singer. We got the
Jeffrey Lee Pierce. Yeah.
SGV guys. And the current drummer for Lamb of God. El Monte.
Yeah. All in our backyard.
Yeah.
But not at all country, not at all Southern at all. Born in DC, died in Santa Monica in 1975. this is a very fucking unusual discography. Like
I was not ready for it in any way, shape, or form. And
there's so many left turns, and man, there was something for everyone at various points for sure.
I would say that, yeah. I also love that there's no commitment to make the album covers reflect the music.
Not even close.
So like it's super funny if you like picked up his folk things and then you're like you see Starsailor, you're oh, this is probably the same. This is probably a safe. Holy fuck! What is going on?
There is no thought put into these album covers. It's just
what photos of him that were
what
like
photo? Yeah, which photo did you take most recently? We'll throw that one on there.
All right,
man. It was a different time. The 60s were fucking. They were fast and loose with some of these artistic rules that we kind of take for granted now. But anyway, we have nine albums total. First one came out 1966. Last one 1974. Before we get started, there was one prominent collaborator, and that is what's his fucking Larry Beckett. On the first two albums, most of the songs are co-written, or a lot of the songs are co-written by Larry Beckett and Buckley. Mm-hmm. And then he shows up on the last album or something toward the end. He shows up again. But he was a big collaborator earlier on. And yeah, you're going to see in this first album alone, so much overlap with a lot of Zappa, fucking Beach Boys. There's a lot of stuff. So I might as well get into it. We have plenty to cover.
Hell yeah.
So this is 1966's self-titled.
I was
summer princess, midnight maiden. When I
was not expecting this music.
Yeah, Renaissance fair 60s garage.
The vocals I don't like the vocals.
It sounds like most 60s artists around this time.
But like, if you could just mute the vocals, like what's going on?
I like the song a lot. Actually, I do like the song. It reminds me a lot of Love. It sounds a lot like Love, which is the exact same time period. Makes perfect sense.
But yeah, almost this like disjointed.
Autumn temptress, sundown.
Yeah, the rhythm is very herky-jerky.
You aren't so young. I came to you, a loving vandal, and heard your heart and touched your tongue, baby.
Very Lancelot sounding song.
Yes.
Beneath your sandal in your eye, I began to spin.
He's kind of like an American Morrissey.
And you know what? There was a lot. I see it. So that song, I do quite like that song.
Yeah. I don't love this album, but there's like interesting things going on, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty hit or miss. I think it's a good album, but there's a lot of misses on this one. I feel like a lot of misses on this one.
Yeah.
So already the follow-up, man, it's such a 60s fucking album because it opens up with that one and then it follows it up with Wings, which is the most weak, low energy follow-up. And the 60s albums did this a lot.
Yeah.
Where they're always, track 2 was like, let's just put a whole halt on the momentum of the entire album. Let's just put something boring and slow right up top. They do that all the time. And this is just that.
Prime example of that. Yeah, it's kind of like boring Jefferson Airplane.
Yeah, I like the string section, but even then, it didn't sound too unique from other bands of this era.
Songs of the Magician.
Or Song of the Magician, yeah.
Kind of like dipping his toes in the psychedelic stuff without like fully committing to it.
Yeah, it's more dreamy. I like the kind of chilling sounding guitars. I like it a lot. I think it's a great song.
Yeah. Speaking of songs like that, a song that does work for me is a Song Slowly song.
Oh, best song on the album.
Yeah,
absolutely best song. And like a noticeable step above everything else here. I feel like it's like that song. I feel is light years ahead of its time in general because it's dark and mature, but it feels so advanced.
That's a song where you're like, okay, I can see where Jeff is.
100%. I heard that song and knew that I could look. There's something for me to look forward to because a lot of this is very average. I don't mean like some of the songs are great songs, but like some of the other songs are like, oh, he's doing another average generic garage rock thing in the 60s, and it's like, all right, I could do without that ever again. But then you hear this one song that's just fucking head and shoulders above everything, and I can't think of any comparisons of this in this era that sounds similar. And then now I'm excited because I know what could come next.
Something brewing.
100%. Song Slowly Song is fucking amazing. Other than that, I do like actually my second favorite song is Valentine Melody. It's another ballad, but goddamn heart wrenching, beautiful, super well written.
Yeah. On weaker songs, I think Aren't You the Girl is this.
Aren't You That Girl is.
Yeah.
I think it's got good and great energy, real strong vocal performance. But aside from that, it's stereotypically 60s. And it's not like awful, but I'm not into it.
Doesn't do anything for me in the year of 2023.
Indeed.
And then the closer, Understand Your Man.
Oh, worst song on the album.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's straight garage rock. But like bad garage rock.
Yeah, I will say like that opening song, like I said, the vocals kind of don't do it for me, but the playing, I'm like, there is something going on there.
For sure. It's not too surprising, but yeah, as you can hear, the mix is very shitty in 60s where everything is quiet except for the vocals.
Yep.
Dominates completely. And then you have like the entire drum set in one ear and then the rest in the other ear. Silly things they did back then trying to figure out stereo recording, but also like It Happens Every Time sounds way more bland following Song Slowly Song. It's not like terrible on its own, but it's just, it hurts following an amazing track like that.
It took you to the mountaintop and they're just going to hang you out to dry after that.
Pretty much. Again, I feel very similarly about Grief in My Soul, where it's like,
also oddly upbeat for.
Yeah. This one does feel like the most like, let's just try this thing and let's try this thing. And I usually like that. But it doesn't sound like he was particularly jazzed about any of it. It just seems like, well, what do you think would sound good? Let's try this kind of song.
Yeah.
Again, it's a thing I usually love when people just try whatever the fuck, but here it feels more random and it doesn't feel like it has a through line in any of it.
It really makes you appreciate like excellent debut albums, because I would think like statistically, like your first album, there would be more first albums like this, right? Like,
yeah, ironing out the kinks,
just trying to find something that works for you. And
and when you hear songs like Song Slowly Song, man, the word song has been used way too much already in this episode. But when you hear songs like that, it's like, oh, that's clearly what he's a lot better at. That feels way more organic and natural. I imagine he's going to lean on something like that, which, spoiler alert, he pretty much does. So it makes songs like Understand Your Man feel way more like, why'd you even do that? Like that. Yeah. There's no way you liked that. There's no way you liked how that came out.
Oh, we got to get 30 minutes worth.
It is a very short album. Yeah. It is a insanely short album, which all the albums are like around 40 minutes. They're pretty average length, but a couple of short ones. But on this album, the personnel on each album is fairly interesting because there's all kinds of motherfuckers on here. So you got Jim Fielder on bass, who would found Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and it played the Mothers of Invention, shocker, and Buffalo Springfield. Van Dyke Parks on piano and harpsichord, and Celesta, who collaborated with Brian Wilson on Smile, the album by the Beach Boys that was the fucking disaster of the band, that was eventually compiled in like a retrospective format as the Smile Sessions in like 2011, which is incredible. It's one of the fucking most amazing like posthumous albums I think ever made. But he worked on that, and he also, of course, played keyboard for the Mothers of Invention in 1965. So you got two mothers on this album. We're going on a third because we got Billy Mundy on drums and percussion, former Hell's Angel drummer, and Sure enough, drummer for the Mother's Invention. Tom adds, might as well get Frank Zappa in at this point.
Might as well.
Got 3 mothers on this album alone. And then on the string arrangements, we have Jack Nietzsche, who big Phil Spector collaborator and was a big, I think he's the conductor for most of the Wall of Sound stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking incredible.
Impressive.
Very
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
Also strange that this album sounds as bad when you have such a heavy hitter like that, but he didn't produce it. Doesn't matter.
Sure.
We know who did produce it though.
Paul A. Rothschild
Damn right. The Doors,
from The Doors.
Mr. The Doors, basically the 5th door.
He must have been like an Electra guy, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess Jack Holtzman, who was the head of Elektra, he apparently helped launch the CD and home video as well as the pilot for what became MTV. Tom calls him a bloody overachiever. Seriously, this dude, the CEO of Elektra, it changed all of music, mainstream music.
Yeah.
CD, home video, Elektra, MTV.
Yeah.
And they're all dead. Today, they're all dead.
Yes. Wow.
Not Elektra, but.
Well, I think MTV, that's a whole thing.
Yeah, it's a very different thing now.
It's the ridiculous channel now.
Oh, ridiculousness?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's all they show.
Yeah, that makes sense. The same way Comedy Central just became South Park and Tosh until Tosh was canceled.
Yep.
Fucking how the mighty have fallen. But yeah, already a very interesting collaboration here. And you wouldn't guess that hearing it.
No, not at all.
Because this is arguably, because I can't say for sure, the most normal album that he has.
Yes, yes.
Because even the stuff that later on is normal, it's not like, it feels more specific. This feels the most like there is, even though I don't love it, there is something for everybody here. Even like the stuff that I think kind of stinks.
Also, later on, things that sound normal, there will always be something that makes it weird.
Abnormal, for sure.
Or very sexually charged. So
I missed so many. I caught some of the lyrics, but there's a lot of those sex lyrics that I definitely missed.
I wrote some of them down. So.
And that's why you're here. Thank God. But yeah, interesting debut. Not the greatest thing ever, but you see inklings and signs of where he's going.
Maybe if you like folk music and that whole 60s vibe, maybe check it out. But
it does nail the 60s vibe.
Yeah.
100%. If you're a big fan of that, which I used to be when I was much younger, I was huge into 60s music. So it has its place. But we're on to the follow-up. You ready?
Yep.
Hell yeah. This is 1967's Goodbye and Hello. Ooh, we got some bomb sounds. Already darker than everything off the last album.
Photographs of guns and flame, scarlet skull and distant game.
I hate it.
You hate it? You're out of your fucking mind. This song is fucking beautiful. Out of your mind.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on the album cover over his right eye.
I can't tell what it is. I'm wondering the same thing.
I'm like, that's not a monocle.
It looks like it could be,
but
it's like a bottle cap or something. He's holding. It might be. It looks like a Pepsi bottle cap.
Oh, maybe.
tape recorders echo scream.
He's also kind of getting some of the character of his voice here.
Orders fly,
or it's more recognizably like him, or what we would recognize as him.
Cannons, laugh aloud.
I didn't realize this album was so beloved until right now.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I didn't really look at these wiki pages at all. I tried to keep that out of my head as I was listening. I think it is a powerful, emotional, and poignant opener and best album.
Whoa.
Yep.
No way.
100%.
No way.
And
y'all don't say that.
This one was tough. This one was actually, choosing a worst was easy. Choosing a worst was so easy. Choosing a best was very tough.
Best was so it's the opposite for me.
Opposite for you? Because I heard this the first time and I was like, this is fucking light years beyond the first album. clearly he already found his voice pretty much. The songs are insane. There's only one song I kind of don't care for on here, and that is Night Errant. It's like a minute and something seconds, or maybe 2 minutes long. Yeah, it's 2 minutes long, and it's like a whimsical Renaissance kind of. I don't know. It kind of stinks, but it comes and goes. I don't really give a fuck. But every other song is so fucking dark. Well, he has other albums that you can say are darker, but they're more like, I would call those more sadistic than like dark. This is like dark folk rock, dark psychedelic stuff, emotional, but more on like the bleak side, not like sad. This is like a upset, bleak album. And it's also fucking beautifully well written. And I love the shit out of it. And first time I heard it, I was like, this is such an incredible album. I don't know where he's going to go after this, but this is getting something. This is getting something. Yeah. And going back to this one several times, it's just, there's just so much here to chew on. There's so many different styles here. And each one, I mean, they're all distinct, but they all have like this through line. They all have this common thread. It all feels like it's part of this one whole. You're not going to piss off very many people, maybe except for you. You're not going to piss.
Well, yeah, I don't like that first song, but I can admit this is better than the first song.
It's so much better. Yeah. But it's also like, if you're in the mood for this kind of emotional folk stuff, good luck finding something more moving than this. Like this is fucking incredible.
I think the best song and my favorite is I Never Asked to Be Your Mountain.
That's one of my lesser favorite songs, even though I still like it a lot. Why is that your favorite?
This, the way he blends like folk, psychedelic, and like upbeat rock stuff. It's so interesting because like, obviously other bands have like dabbled in all three, but that song brings those genres together in such a like distinct way where they stand out, but it doesn't feel forced together. And also, I notice this man loves xylophones, and the xylophone goes so hard on there, and I never thought I'd say that.
Dude, there's a lot of some of
the xylophones are fucking dope on that song.
I think they're dope almost all the time. He uses them.
I would say more often than not.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that song, like you said, has all these very characteristic of the 60s things, the bongos, the Eastern sounds, the psychedelic stuff, and it has like really good energy. It's very fast and really good vocal performance. But even though it's like the most 60s thing ever, it feels like it has its own personality compared to every other band doing something similar. Probably, I mean, like you said, it combines all of it in a way that feels very, very distinct, very of its own signature. And also, the side note, a fun fact about that song, that's the song that Jeff performed at the Tim Buckley tribute.
I gotta look that up.
Yeah, I don't remember which year it was. He was 26 when it happened. So if he died in 97, he was like, what, 32? I forgot. But I think he was 32. So it must have been like 90, 92, 93. But I probably did that math wrong, but who cares? I definitely did the math wrong. 91. That's how you do 6 years. Jesus Christ, I'm an idiot. But he sang that song, and I believe he didn't want his name on the bill. He didn't want to be announced. Sure. Because he's like, this is for me. This is not for this is me trying to getting closure for my relationship with my dad. And he sang that song, which was partly about Jeff and about I mean, it's kind of in the title, Never Asked to Be Your Mountain, where he's juggling the responsibility of having that whole life and not being able to be a part of it.
Should have wrapped it up, buddy.
What?
Should have wrapped it up.
Oh.
If you didn't want to be a mountain.
Hey, man. Again, it wasn't just the recording techniques that were fast and loose in the 60s. It was the whole shebang.
Everything. Free love, baby.
Oh, yeah. Of course, I love Carnival Song because it is, carnival music. Interesting follow-up too. It's track 2. It's Bizarre Waltz. And then Pleasant Street is another big, powerful, emotional epic. And again, it's like eons more developed than anything off the last album, except for maybe song. Song.
There are so many nice peaks and valleys and Pleasant Street, and maybe it's also due to the longer, like those songs being
are much
longer.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do like the guitar playing on Hallucinations a lot too.
Love it. It's another. He dabbles a lot in Renaissance sounding stuff, a lot of Ren Fair shit, but a lot of psychedelic elements, very well written, really engaging. Once I Was so goddamn beautiful. What is it? Phantasmagoria in 2 is another one. It's like this album is just so dark. And again, I Never Asked to Be Your Mountain isn't dark. It's more upbeat, but the lyrical themes are pretty dark. So there really isn't too much levity. Phantasmagoria in 2 is absolutely gorgeous. And then the title track is a 8.5 minute epic.
That is wacky folk prog rock.
Yep. And it's glorious.
Yeah.
I love it so much. So many shifts and changes. Like you would expect, I looked at that song length and expected a long jam section. And we don't get that. We just get crazy section after crazy section. And it's not like wild, abrasive, off-putting crazy. It's just proggy folk.
Yeah, like, oh wow, you're doing that, huh?
Yeah, like a bunch of horns and flutes, a million instruments. Around a minute and 50, it gets really wacky and circusy, wackasy. And then it goes into this really triumphant, fantastical folk sounding thing. And then there are moments where it really. Like when I said it gets circusy, I mean literally circusy. Like that melody literally shows up in the song. Like that exact melody.
It's in the song.
It's so wild. But when listening to that, it felt like, I mean, a lot of this album in general, it really reminded me of Nick Drake in the same league of Nick Drake in terms of the arrangement style and just the uniqueness in the writing. And it's like it's folky, but it's like there's nothing at all predictable about this. It doesn't even feel Americana folky. It just feels like you're using guitars, you're playing it in a way that's kind of, Renaissance-y, but it has its own feel to it completely. Like Nick Drake had his own feel to it. And then Morning Glory is a very brief closer, really gentle, uplifting ballad. It's like warm and comforting, especially after the
you kind of need it. Yeah,
it kind of soothes you into this very quick, gentle landing of the ending of the album. It's a huge advancement in basically every way. Completely original and heartbreaking melodies, progressions with incredible arrangements. It's like he matured decades since the first album. That's what it felt like listening to this.
Dang, decades is real generous.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's so well done. And Alex is just fine with it.
I'm just fine with it. It might be my favorite album out of the folk
era. Or the easy, nice, clean folk era.
Yeah.
So on this album we have one member of the Wrecking Crew, Don Randy. For those who don't know, the Wrecking Crew was the session musician collective who played on every famous song and album from the 60s and 70s. I mean, the wiki is insane. It's wild.
They got their own documentary.
Oh yeah. And then they were like Phil Spector's guys, right? They were like his hitman.
I don't know the details of them. But.
Maybe not his exclusively, but he used them a lot.
Yeah, I don't feel qualified to talk about that.
Right. Jimmy Bond, he's another Wrecking Crew member. He was on this, and he also went to work with Frank Zappa and Tom Adz, because apparently that's required when you work with Tim Buckley. You have to be involved with Zappa. Henry Diltz played harmonica on Once I Was, and he, as you should all remember, is the guy who took the photo cover of Morrison Hotel by the Doors.
Incognito photo shoot.
Yeah, one of the funnest stories of an album cover where they had to sneak into the hotel, take it from outside, and then run out before the owner noticed. Jerry Yester plays piano, organ, and harmonium, and he's a producer and arranger, and would go on to work with Tom Waits and Pat Boone. Big time. We got Dave Garr from the Kingston Trio, Eddie Ho, often an uncredited drummer who played for Donovan, the Monkees, and the Mamas and the Papas.
That guy is the most 60s drummer ever.
Those names alone.
Yeah,
Jesus.
those alone.
Holy shit, man. But yeah, I didn't know this album was super beloved. Hearing it, I felt it in my soul. Like it just this is an album that would hit with a lot of people. I just felt it immediately. Now seeing that it's considered as such, it's not so surprising. And I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's his best album. And specifically because it's there's no moment where you're like pissed off at it.
Yeah.
There's other albums where I'm like, that's a best album, but there's like, that's hard to convince someone. I can't convince someone of this part or this song or this thing.
You're crazy.
I think this is hard to deny as an album, especially if you're into this type of thing. It's absolutely lovely. But we have plenty more.
Yes, we do.
More. So we're on to the next one. This is, if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Hell yeah. This is 1969's Happy Sad. Now,
xylophones, vibraphone, some sort of
phone. I think it's a marimba, vibraphone and marimba.
Yeah.
And we are in Praguesville, ladies and gentlemen. This song is almost 8 minutes long.
Yes, I would say this album's more jazzy.
Yeah, and I only say Prague as in ridiculously long songs.
Yeah. In the scheme of things, I see this one is also very like critically
it's
acclaimed,
well received. Yeah,
and I might come around to it like a few months or years from now, but this definitely feels like a bridge between styles
100%.
that he's doing.
But what you could hear already is his voice has developed.
It's better here.
He is now his own guy. Before he was still ironing it out. He still sounded great in the last album. But here, no one was singing like this back then.
I was gonna say, never sounds bad, even if I wasn't a fan of it. But like, there's a certain confidence he has in his voice now.
You could hear a little bit of it here, but you hear it more on other tracks. He, dare I say, the first yarler.
Oh shit!
Yep. He does a lot of yarling when no one was doing it.
I feel like he does he does the first of a lot of things.
Yeah. This album, there's a lot of it, of the yarl though.
So,
God, he sounds great.
no Stone Temple Pilots ripping off Jim though.
No, that's true. Those iPhones or the vibraphones feel so nice there.
This is kind of like the perfect like coffee shop study album.
Yeah.
If you want to sit and just listen to it, there's a lot to sink your teeth into. These are very long
songs. I mean, this is a 45-minute album with 6 songs.
Yeah.
So that tells you quite a bit. And so I have a lot of problems with this album. I think it's a good album, but it is really badly paced. And so it's called Happy Sad, and it's very on the nose.
Yeah.
It literally 3 of the songs are really happy and 3 of the songs are really sad. Mm-hmm. Except it's not like the way they're sequenced is fucking bananas.
Yeah.
So you get Strange Feeling, the opener, which is surprisingly gentle, like soothing and relaxing, and it's actually really nice. It's has a southern feel to it, and the xylophones really like it really works. And then you get Buzz and Fly, which I think is like a really old song of his that he barely released at this time.
That one's a little more blues driven than like jazz.
Buzz and Fly is, I think, what I would probably say objectively, maybe a better song than Strange Feeling.
Oh shit.
Same feel. It's the same fucking feel.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little bit more bluesy than jazzy, but you get 2 songs in a row equaling out to almost 14 fucking minutes that feel the same. And it's like, it automatically fatigued me out the gate because track 3, you get Love from Room 109 at the Islander, long title, which is fucking 10 and a half, almost 11 minutes, but it's dark and it's beautiful and it's got so many complex progressions. It has these great cellos that come in like around the halfway point or a little bit after the halfway point. rounded and it's very moving. And it's like, this is a beautiful song. If this was track 2, then it would feel way more like, oh, this album has some turns in it.
That's not my favorite song on the album, but I think it's by far the most interesting song.
Yes.
I've never or like rarely heard songs where I'm like, that is like a quiet epic.
Yeah, absolutely. No drums at all.
Yeah.
No drums at all.
It's very, very, very quiet.
Yeah.
But like, man, it goes places. If you're a fan of those later era Talk albums, this is kind of a little similar.
Yeah, like it has moments in it of lightheartedness, which is absolutely perfect for something that's almost 11 minutes. Like it's not just a giant long depressed fest.
Mm-hmm.
Like it has all these moments and these I don't know, shifts and changes, and it has a story to it. And it's like, it's a beautifully well-rounded song. And you just like, why wouldn't you? Maybe it's not like an obvious track 2, but it's a completely different feel than than the first song. Like, wouldn't you want? I don't know. It just bugs me. The lack of like the pacing issue just bothers me a lot. And then beginning with side 2, you get Dream Letter, which is devastating. It's a letter to Jeff Buckley, essentially, or to his ex-wife. It's about Jeff.
Dream letters, dream brothers.
Oh yeah.
Making connections.
Yeah, it's
in the easiest way possible.
Yeah. It's the shortest song here at 5 minutes 12, and it's fucking so goddamn good. It's so pretty. It's heartbreaking, especially when you listen to the lyrics. Heartbreaking.
Really achieves a dreamy quality to it as well.
And on the topic of Dream Letter, Lee Underwood said, he says, the song beautifully expressed his love and concern for Jeff and his own anguish at being unable to be present in Jeff's life, not because of Jeff, but because of his career and because of the sour relationship with his ex-wife, Mary. On more than one occasion, he told me he loved Jeff and that he hoped to bridge the gap when Jeff was older and able to understand the complexities involved. Alas, Tim didn't live long enough for that. In my book, I present a conversation I had with Jeff about Tim in late 1989, shortly before Jeff left LA for New York. Sadly, Jeff was so angry with Tim that he wasn't able to absorb what I said. Yeesh.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that as a former young man.
Yeah, as a former young man, I get that. But I hope it seems like he kind of had some closure, especially with like the whole tribute performance thing. So I'd hope there's more, like, at least before he died, there was some kind of peace there, because Jesus Christ. Tom also adds, says, has Eddie Vedder ever talked about Tim Buckley in interviews? I'm surely not the only one who hears some of Dream Letter absorbed in his vocals.
There's the Jarl.
There's the Jarl. Yeah, there's a lot of yarling here, and it's not like offensive yarling.
No, it's never like the.
Yeah. It's because he's mostly pretty gentle on a lot of these songs. Not all of them, because we're not done talking about the album. But when he does the Jarl, he tends to be a lot more gentle and soft. But moving on to the biggest pile of ass on this album, Gypsy Woman. Oh my God, I hate this song.
I love it.
No!
Probably, in fairness, it probably doesn't belong on this album.
No. I guess it qualifies as a happy song.
It is.
Boy, is it very happy.
It is so different from everything else on here, but
oh my God.
You get those congas going, you get some nice percussion going, and you got me.
It's 12 minutes of the same old shit and him screaming Gypsy Woman.
Yeah.
And total CCR vibe on this one, which again, I love me some CCR. Who gives a fuck? But this song, I think, has the most dicking around he's done up to this point by far. So much dicking around, so much jamming.
Mike, there's so much dicking around to come, though.
But it's methodical dicking around, maybe, possibly. This is just more jamming dicking around. Like standard, let's just jam for an hour and fucking just not stop.
Maybe because it's, I don't want to say like the only song he does like this, but like it's like, oh, we do it the once. And I'm like, I'm fine with that.
He does it more than once. songs like this that are long and jammy, I'll point it out when it comes up again. But here it was still novel to me. I wasn't put off by like this type of thing. It's just I mean, the only thing I really like on it are his vocals because he goes pretty wild here. This is like the first we get of him letting loose a little bit and going full on.
The sex funk's coming out. It's
coming out a little bit. And then the closer is, again, a wild 2.5 minutes following a 12-minute song. Feels very bizarre.
It's almost like a fever dream.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Such a strange.
You're like, did that song? No, that's not. Oh, shit. There was a closer.
Yeah. It's like, why not just end it with Gypsy Woman? But it's Sing a Song for You. It's an astounding 2.5 women's 2.5 minutes. It's on the sad side. It would qualify as the sad part of the album. It's absolutely lovely. I think it's very nice. Halfway through, some standard bass comes in. It's a strong closer, but it's like another thing I don't like about this album. The happy is there's so much more happy. The happy songs equal up to like fucking 25 minutes or like 30 minutes. And the sad is relatively short.
Thank you, Gypsy Woman.
Gypsy Woman really pushed it over the edge. And again, it's like I don't even really give a fuck about which songs sound happy or sad, but just the pacing of it, the way it's sequenced. And Gypsy Woman is a total miss for me. I listened to this on a plane and I was like, I'm getting real fucking antsy and bored.
You know what? Yeah, okay. I get why you hate it now.
Yeah. But the thing is, I thought that would be a bigger hindrance to enjoying this stuff, but other stuff I was fine with. It's like, I think it's just a song. I think I just hate the song.
Okay.
Yeah. But I suppose, no, we're not done. This is still the folksy era, but he's transitioning. This is the first, like, I don't know, full bridge album. Decent. It's probably my lesser favorite out of all of them, of all like the folk era stuff. But it's very conceptual, a little on the nose with the title, but a lot of strong stuff here, a lot of misses for me, but still a whole lot of good stuff here. And then Dream Letter is a must listen. And
if you're a crazy person like me, start to finish is
Jesus Christ,
interesting album
for sure.
Not as strongest, but it's interesting for
sure. This is also the first album without Larry Beckett co-writing lyrics, and then I don't think we have any new Mother's Invention or Frank Zappa people on here, which is very surprising.
Yeah.
But we have Zal Yanovsky, who produced this, who's a founding member of the 11th Spoonful. And then David Friedman, who plays marimba and vibraphone. Member of the New York Philharmonic and Metropolitan Opera. And he worked with Chet Baker. Like
that's Jasmine.
Oh, yeah. Like here we're getting some like big hitters. John Miller was a coordinator and producer of Broadway musicals, and he's the guy who played double bass on here. So it's like the musicians he's getting are like the fucking elite of the elite,
cream of the crop.
It's insane. Also, according to Lee, he considers this album to be his best guitar work.
Interesting.
Yeah, which I wonder why he felt that, because I didn't take much note of it. I didn't really...
The guitar playing does not feel like the maybe on Dream Letter, but overall it does not feel like the star of the show.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? He also singled out the Live in London Dream Letter Live in London recording, which is a live album that I'm actually going to check out, because most of the songs from Goodbye Hello.
There you go.
So it's a very good era for me personally. I enjoy that very much.
Yeah.
But yeah, transition album, but we have plenty more to cover. And if you're ready.
I am ready.
Hell yes. This is same year. This is November 1969. This is Blue Afternoon.
Called Happy Time. It doesn't sound so happy.
Not at all. And this bass line. Oh, I love this bass line.
Also, like, really interesting what the drummer's doing with all the cymbal work.
All the drums in the song are just cymbal work.
Yeah.
It's such a nice touch.
Because I'm a simpleton, and I would never.
A simpleton, not bad. Not bad.
I would never think to do that.
I'm coming home to stay.
It doesn't feel lacking in drums either, which is interesting.
I guess, the bass is busy, not in an overwhelming way, but like maybe it's just like, man, that bass is going off. I don't need to add kick and snare. Just
that bass is so powerful. It's a great bass line.
Such a shame.
I love these arrangements. That minimal guitar just hitting those same notes. Those are arpeggios.
Oh, it's such a shame.
So they take a break from the long songs in this one.
yes, more, I guess, to normal songs, but like
traditional.
They're really strong songs.
Yes, I like this one a lot more than the last one. I still think it's flawed, but I think it's bookended fantastically. Like the first chunk of songs and the last chunk of songs.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only two songs in the middle I don't care for so much.
Chase the Blues Away is one of my favorites.
Absolutely.
By him. It's haunting and beautiful.
Incredible.
The guitar playing, I don't know why Lee Underwood likes his guitar play. Not that he dislikes it, but like, God, it's so good.
So damn good.
The River, we got the vibraphones, xylophones, whatever.
That's one of the songs I don't care for.
Yeah.
The River and So Lonely are the two I'm not into. It's I think it hurt. I enjoyed it less following. I Must Have Been Blind, which I do like quite a bit. It feels really good following Chase the Blues Away because it lightens things up a bit. And then So Lonely is almost silly with it's like a cute song more than anything.
Yeah, I was like, depending on your taste of music, it's either out of place or it's like a nice little refresher from like side A to side B.
Yeah, it's exactly that. And then it's the last three tracks. Cafe. Oh boy, I love it. I mean, I just love his darker songs so much more.
Mm-hmm.
I figured that out pretty early on, but yeah, that one is on the darker stuff. Some of the guitar textures on that one are just so unsettling and unique. Like really, really interesting, odd choices, like droney stuff, which is you never expect droney guitars on a song like this or an album like this, fucking psychedelic folk rock or whatever. But it's like, oh, that's a weirdly kind of creepy guitar line that's actually unsettling.
Him and the Walker brothers are like,
yep,
we're gonna get you, motherfuckers,
dude. So unassuming, both of them. Blue Melody is fucking lovely as hell. It's super melancholy and jazzy, but it feels great. Really relaxing. That piano in there is just angelic.
It is one of the most like moody coffee shop songs.
Exactly. It's exactly that.
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for that kind of music just because it just puts me in like a headspace, very calming, rain, jazzy. I don't know. I
was like, you could play this at a Starbucks, but I feel like it would fuck up the vibes still.
How so?
Just because it is like moody in certain ways that
I suppose it's not neutral enough.
Yes.
Yeah. It is still it's still very pretty melancholy. The Train is it's a song.
Holy fuck.
The Train is how you do Gypsy Woman correctly. That's how I feel.
That song, I was like, oh, maybe just the solo is free jazz. No, the whole thing is very free jazzy, very Beefheartian,
but not that super crazy. It's crazy compared to the earlier stuff, I guess, but it's not like wild crazy. It's,
I guess for Buckley, it's crazy.
I suppose. Yeah, some of these guitar solos are pretty fucking wild.
Yeah,
they are nutty. They're very nutty.
I wasn't expecting like a free jazz odyssey to close out the album.
It's a little bizarre, but it develops as it goes on, especially toward the end. Like it keeps going and changing. It's not just a jam fest. It has a development, and it's long. It's 8 minutes, but it's not. I didn't feel the length nearly as much as anything on the last album, kind of.
More in the vein of a krautrock song.
Exactly. Whereas Jesse One was more on the CCR, this is more krautrock.
It's because you never listen to Santana's first 3 albums.
That's the fucking reason. I need to get on it.
You'd probably hit. I'm actually interested what you would think.
At this point, I might just hate them.
Yeah.
Fucking knows. If I'm not mistaken, I think Tim didn't like this album, or most people involved didn't like this one. I think it was rushed. I mean, it came out the same fucking year.
It makes it feel like more of a miracle because there's some really
great songs on here,
really strong stuff on here,
and it even though it's still not paced wonderfully, and I don't love every song on here, it's paced a million times better than the last album. I mean, the fucking first 3 alone, like, oh, that's perfect. Yeah, 3 bangers out the gate, and then you close with 3 strong ones. Absolutely, that's how you let it stick in your memory. But on this album, this album was released on Straight Records. Sure enough, label of Frank Zappa and Herb Cohen. And I think there would be some complications with that later on when the Frank Zappa and Herb Cohen, of course, blew up at each other. And I'm pretty sure they had a falling out and the label got messy and stuff happened with rights. But all this stuff was eventually re-released, and of course it's all streaming. But on here, we got a celebrity on here. We have
one of the best guitar players of all time.
We got Steve Kahn, because he played on Steely Dan's Asia and Gaucho. Check out that episode. I fucking hate Steely Dan.
Asia is one of the greatest. You go drink your big black cow, Mike. How about that?
I hated that band so much, I don't even remember what I gave best to. That's how much I hated that band. It wasn't Asia, even though it probably should have been Asia, I guess, according to everyone else, even though I still didn't like the album. But he played guitar on Happy Time and So Lonely. So he didn't play on the whole thing, but yeah, this is the first album with Straight. I think there'll be some more albums on Straight, but I forget. I forget exactly.
We'll get to them when we get to them.
Yeah, but yeah, this was a sort of a kind of brushed under the rug album. They put it out and kind of moved on very quickly, as you'll see with the next album. But I think it's good. Yeah, I think it's better paced, more consistent, more variety. Actually has some drums. The last album didn't have any drums except for Gypsy Woman.
Would you still consider this part of like his folk?
I wouldn't even. Yeah, I know I kind of would.
Okay,
because there's enough on here that's like pretty mellow, even though the train is not.
The train, yeah.
But now we're on to the second era.
Yes. Now we're like officially like into the second era.
The transitions are done. We are now on to it.
Yes.
So here it is, everybody. This is 1970s Lorca. Well, already it's weird. And it doesn't get less weird.
Love this song so much. I'm like, are we in a horror movie? What is going on?
Yep. This was produced by Dick Kunk.
Hell yeah, brother.
What a name.
I don't even know if we can do this song justice.
No chance we can.
Yeah.
It's 10 minutes.
Real freeform stuff.
So weird. There was like no warning. There was no warning.
No one saw this coming. Kind of like Aaron Neville, like.
Yeah. Fuck. So this is what I mean when I said before that Goodbye and Hello was dark, but this is a different kind of dark.
Yes.
This is some fucked up dark.
Let the sun.
It's gonna listen to all 8 minutes.
He sounds great.
Let the wind.
Fucking Dracula organs.
What a fucking song. What a fucking song.
So bizarre. So we've taken a turn here.
Yes. I was like, I need every song to like at least contend or be done in the spirit of that song, and
not even close.
Yeah,
Not even close. So this is the first of his crazy experimental albums, and it is only half-hearted experimental. It's that song and the follow-up, and that's it, basically.
It really like disappointed me because I love that opening song so much.
It's 10 minutes. It's a lot of that, but as it goes on, it gets real wacky.
It's like you're hearing someone lose their mind in real time.
And it's fucking dark and disturbing, and it's fucking cool shit. And then you get Anonymous Proposition, and I hate it.
It's funny because I was like, they're both dicking around. But there are so many like interesting sounds and choices on Lorca. Where Anonymous Propositions is like very ho-hum average.
It's like free jazz with the only thing tying it into place is the vocals, and his vocals are just like pretty much just wailing over everything, and it's even hard to make out like the melody of the vocals because of everything is just so fucking dicking around. I mean, hitting random notes all over the place. Like everything is a random note.
It's not a good choice after Lorca.
It's also the entire thing. It's a very like Arnold Schoenberg or something, or Bela Bartok, like the early 20th century experimental, where it was abrasive and wrong notes for the sake of like, well, everybody played right notes. It's time to play wrong notes, and it was impossible to listen to. It's like that. There's more to hold on to because his voice is there and he's singing actual sorrowful vocal lines, but it's hard to even distinguish what he's singing because there's just so much dicking around.
I had a talk with my woman. That's just kind of a normal song,
regular song. It's
the most normal song.
It's almost more disturbing hearing a regular song. I was like, what is he doing? It's a good song. It actually feels like proto grunge to me. It's very cool.
What you can't show me that title track and then do that.
It's so strange, and it's lighter and it's accessible, but it's nice. And then Drifting, I think, is actually very cool. It's like a kind of a lone cowboy kind of song.
Yes, I think I prefer that over Talk with My Woman.
I like it a lot too. He's doing a lot of Jarl and croony stuff here. He's really embracing the deepness part of his voice, the more baritone side of it, which sounds phenomenal. His vocals are becoming very, very distinct and very characteristic. And then the closer, Nobody Walking, is another The Train or Gypsy Woman, and I'm just bored of it. I'm tired of it.
I like those two previous songs way more. To me, like, I'm surprised I didn't give this any negative I think this because like the title track is
so good.
It's that good that it fucking avoid.
It's that good, and also I like how to talk with my woman and Drifting enough to be like, well, 3 out of 5 is 60% or whatever the percentage is.
But Nobody Walking, it's just like, oh my god, we started in such a strange, interesting place, and this is where we're ending.
We started with an insane advancement, and then we ended with literally the same thing we did on the last album, and then the album before that. Like,
yes,
it's both a huge progression and regression at the same time.
So it's definitely an album I have to come back to it though.
It's too interesting and bizarre, and like it's like you would expect this kind of transition to take place over the course of a few albums, but it's all crammed in one. It's like you hear like, here's where we started, here's where we got a little weirder, and here's where we got its weirdest, but it's all just jumbled up in one album. It's very strange. And I believe this one was not enjoyed by anyone, including the band, maybe. Well, at least that's what I inferred from it, because that's right. Larry Beckett called this quote, a great artist's failure. So he thought it was a complete disaster. Lee had this to say about it. He said, I would not have used that particular word because I see Lorca as a seminal album, a conceptual stepping stone to the next album that we're going to talk about after this. And I don't want to get too into it because it's too much into the like what we're going to talk about in a second. But basically, he says like we need. It's not like sure, it wasn't the exactly what it could have been or what maybe he wanted it to be. It's not the easiest thing to listen to now. Maybe it doesn't hold the best, but we needed it to get somewhere else. It's an important album and it is beautiful for that thing.
It's a crawler. It's a crawler, and the next album's a runner.
And, this is the last quote I'll say from him about this. He says, "Nothing is a failure if it leads to greater things."
God damn, that's some good PMA right there.
Dude, I love that. I love that. Ooh, yeah, baby. I fucking live my life by that. On this album, though, we got John Balkin playing upright bass and as well as pipe organ and a standard Fender bass. He played on Francis Vincent Zappa, one of the Zappa albums, obviously, and conducts the Avenue Seals, Emuka Electric Orchestra and Chorus. I probably pronounced all those words wrong. And Lumpy Gravy, which is Frank Zappa's first solo album and a fantastic album. The connections with Zappa seemingly endless, and it's delightful. Of course, Herb Cohen executive produced this.
Mm-hmm.
Straight Records, Frank Zappa connection. They're all connected. And with an album like this, it's way more obvious.
Yes.
With the first album, it's like, what?
Yeah.
Here, yeah, this is Zappa weird.
Yeah.
And even the title track really reminds me of like some of the goofy, spooky stuff on Freak Out, the first Mother's album. So yeah, you definitely see a lot of connections here. But hit and miss. But it's a stepping stone, and we're about to talk about the stone that follows. And you ready, baby?
Oh, since you hit record, I've been ready.
Oh, yeah. This is 1970s Starsailor.
This is like proto Mars Volta.
And yep, kind of, yeah. Oops. So, you're already hearing some weird buildup and some experimental stuff. The important thing I want to say out the gate, all of these songs are average length songs. And
I didn't even think about that.
I will feel so much Zappa right here. There's so much Zappa.
So gently you tease me.
I believe the song lengths are important to this album, but
unlike the young one,
because with Lorca, I mean, it was fucking 10 minutes of crazy. You expect that though. You expect craziness to kind of go on. You don't expect condensed insanity.
Part of the reason why my like go-to band when I hear like condensed I always think of System of a Down because what I grew up with, so that's like the first band.
These moments surrounding.
I think Darren's like the king of writing
short songs that do a lot.
Prog rock songs.
This is most people are not enjoying this right now. This is bizarre.
I'm having a great time.
I love it, but it is fucking weird. Hideous. What? Hold on. I wasn't expecting this to shift. And his vocals are so fucking painful.
I wish
now it's the B part.
I wish I could go give myself this album in my 20s.
This would have fit right at home during my B part days. So jazzy. So that song, it already has gone through a million changes and very unusual changes. Say it.
Best.
Personal favorite. This album, my goodness. So this was almost best. And the only reason why I didn't is because there were a few moments that are just so fucking insanely abrasive that it does disrupt the pacing a little bit, even though I do love every song on here.
man, even after Lorca, because there's so much mid stuff on Lorca, I was not ready for this album at all. This is, if you, it's kind of hard to pitch this album, but I would say, like, yeah, if you're like a prog rock fan, if you're like even like a psychedelic, you like the more like Zappa, Hawkwind type stuff, this is such a gem of an album.
It is so unique, and every song does something completely strange, some disturbing and fucked up, completely different from the one before it.
This is, if we recorded this before Underrated, this would have made my list on
most underrated albums. Yeah.
It's, man, I don't know why more people don't talk about it.
It is well regarded, but it's not talked about very much. I've never heard, no one's ever brought it up to me.
No one's ever been like, man,
dude, you're check this fucking shit out.
Starsailor.
Dude, it's so crazy. So like, you hear the opener, and it's, by the way, Larry Beckett's doing some lyrics on this album, so he came back sooner than I expected. But it's already bizarre. It's already fucking crazy. It's that weird, strange, ugly, hideous Dracula music, and then goes into very beef hearty and jazziness, and then the no other song sounds like that. Every other song is fucked up and crazy. But they all are just a different flavor of fucked up and crazy.
Because the next track, I woke up, the horns feel so good on that song.
God, it's
after the disjointed ugliness of Come Here Woman.
Beautiful horns, and coupled with these spidery guitar notes, like nonsense guitar notes. There's nonsense notes played really fast, very, very unsettling and formless, a lot of clashing textures. It's like, dude, trying to describe some of these songs is insanely challenging. Like, it's all so drifty and random. It's obviously very experimental, but it has like an occasional moment of beauty in there. It's unlike so, I can't think of any album that sounds like this one. Just like the last album, track 3 is a relatively normal song, Monterey.
I kind of felt like there's some wailing vocals on there, though.
His vocals on this album are out of control.
They're the most centric to me for like Volta fans.
He does. It's part of his character and his personality he does a lot of long drawn out notes like Cedric, but a lot of like, I mean, you heard it, just wailing at fucking the highest note ever for a long time.
Yeah.
Very drawn out words.
And then, even if you think you know what this album is, he's like, let me hit you with Moulin Rouge.
Dude, it's beautiful.
I hope you guys like wacky cabaret music.
I love wacky cabaret music.
It's almost carnival music.
Yeah, it's almost. It's a step off. But and it's super short. It's less than 2 minutes, and it's like he just threw in that little novelty song there, and it's really well done. And then you get fucking Song to the Siren.
So pretty.
Oh god damn.
So good.
So dreamy, so floaty. It's hopeful and passionate. Very, very moving and lovely. Tim sounds fucking incredible on it. After that, we got some fucking insanity with Jungle Fire.
Man, yeah.
So that's actually a good example, because where I had a problem with what's that song from the last time I read, Anonymous Proposition from Lorca?
Yeah.
Where it said it was like a bunch of dicking around and his voice is the thing holding it down. That Jungle Fire is that, but good.
I guess you don't have time to dick around on the shorter songs.
I guess so, but it's like the melody is stronger. It's easier to it's more tangible. You can understand it easier, so it's easier to keep your attention. It's chaos with a bunch of nonsense, but you don't lose the song in it. You still feel the songness of it. Then at 2 minutes 15, it goes into like full hard rock kind of thing. I don't know. I don't understand how it works so well. Like, I can't scientifically explain why it works, because it feels like none of it should work.
That's the whole album,
kind of
in a nutshell. Like, if you don't like that First song, like you probably won't.
That's probably it's a safe litmus test for sure, because it is weird, but it also does the thing where it goes into this jazzy part. That's like, oh, that's kind of swingy.
Yeah.
But if you didn't enjoy that, yeah, fuck no. Does I mean, maybe Moulin Rouge you'll like, but then the title track,
It's one of his greatest songs. It's so fucking cool.
Disturbing. That's one that's hard to defend in terms of like an enjoyable song. I like it, but it is not because I think it's a pleasant musical experience.
It's also funny because you look at the album cover and
fucking ridiculous, dude.
an album cover,
It's just smiling.
you're like, yeah, that's a generic 60s, 70s type thing. Even like Starsailor, you're like, that's not super psychedelic.
Even the name, yeah.
Yeah, but oh my God. Just yeah, you're either cool and you like this album or you're lame and you don't.
Yeah, that's one hipster way to look at it. Like, listen, dude, you're with us or against us.
Yeah.
But the title track, so he does it a lot on this album, but especially in that song, he is going fucking buck wild with the vocals. A lot of yodeling. He's doing a lot of. He is officially losing his fucking mind here. He's not just doing the wailing.
Yes.
He's doing the dark, deep croons. He's doing the wailing. He's doing the yodeling. He's doing some weird screaming stuff. He is fucking beyond. He's beyond any vocalist from this time period.
Healing Festival's cool because it's a blending prog rock and free jazz, and again, artists do that all the time, but again, it's just unique the way it's presented here.
That one really reminds me of Mothers of Invention. I feel like you would really like the Mothers now, hearing
I know
enjoyment of this album.
Yeah, it's not that. Yeah, I know I need to listen to it. I'll probably be upset that I've been putting them off for decades.
It's a mixed bag because there's a lot of those like the canon albums, and then there's the albums that are like they were released posthumously, but they compiled a bunch of stuff, and it's become to the point where those basically are canon now, even though they were released way later, and it's essentially compilations. And some of those, and I'm just gonna say for people who know Mothers, Burnt Weenie Sandwich and Weasels Rip My Flesh, I think those will be your albums.
Okay.
They're the far more serious Mothers albums and less silly and goofy, and they were posthumous.
Okay.
Yeah, also. But I feel like if you're enjoying this, there's no way you won't enjoy those fucking batshit albums.
I know there's a lot in that I'll enjoy.
Yeah,
It's
incredible
just,
band.
It's just laziness on my part.
But then he closes it with Down by the Borderline, and man,
Dude.
again, there's just so much Zappa and Beefheart on this album, but it doesn't sound like them. It just feels like them.
That song is probably like what you want Gypsy Woman to sound like.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it is so good. And that fucking trumpet on there is fantastic. The trumpet throughout the entire thing is fantastic. Very jazzy song. This album is just so strange. And with the songs like the title track, I mean, the song, aside from him wailing, going nuts, is a swirling choir of fucked up, disturbing voices. It's terrifying. It's just a horror movie soundtrack.
Yes.
There's nothing like, it's not like musical in any way. It's just fucking creepy and scary. So you get that shit mixed in with all this. It's impossible to peg down, completely unpredictable.
That's the face of a local youth pastor who invites you to hang out, but then you go into the basement and there's all sorts of cosmic horrors going on.
Dude, that luring, nice, sweet, handsome face. No, dude, you don't trust that. You don't trust this man. That Starsailor's up to no good.
This,
and what strikes me,
to get ahead a little bit, it's just like, I was like, yes,
yep,
more. And this is it.
This is, spoiler alert, yeah, this is it for him being weird.
There are no transitional albums.
Nope. There is no bridge to the next one. It is this and it's done. And it's an anomaly to me because how did this happen? Why did this happen? And why did he stop abruptly?
Why not? Yeah. I mean,
maybe money.
I guess there is, I could
I think it was money.
Probably the
Yeah.
label. Probably the label.
Well, actually, now that I'm remembering, he lost so many fans with these albums, with Lorca and this one. He lost so many fans.
Man.
And then he might have been dropped. I don't recall exactly. He might have been dropped. That would make a lot of sense if he was dropped. I'm sure these didn't sell well.
Yeah.
And then when he reformed with his next band with the next 3 albums, he didn't play any songs ever from these albums.
Fuck. It is this out of time, out of space.
Yep.
Fucking. Whew, man. We've covered a lot of albums that didn't get their dues when they were released, but this is up there.
He sure is. This was this was obviously released on Straight. Maybe it wasn't dropped because it was released on Straight, which is Zappa's label, is very the norm for them. But the interesting thing about that, and this is where I remember the falling out or the problems. Lick My Decals Off Baby by Captain Beefheart was also released on this album. I'm sorry, this label.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the lawsuit between Herb Cohen and Frank Zappa, this album and that album were completely out of print and very hard to find on CD. But eventually it was reissued in 2006, I think.
I do.
But for a long time, it was not easy.
I do remember a friend when downloading music he was like very excited. He had a way to get in a attainable way to get Lick My Decals Off Baby.
I remember that one being, we talked about it a little bit on our Captain Beefheart episode, but that one being like a mystery. Like, how do we get this album? What is this missing Captain Beefheart album? And I didn't hear it till years later, years after I discovered Beefheart. But this is a fucking once in a generation album, pretty much once in a career album, apparently.
Maybe a once in the history of mankind album.
Yeah, and the thing possibly, and the thing I love about this one so much more, especially compared to Lorca, is that on the surface it sounds just as random and just as fucking bananas, but underneath there's way more intention in these songs. There's way more thought, because again, they don't all feel like the same song. They don't. It doesn't feel like random dicking around. Once you really digest what's happening, like each song has its own story in a way.
I don't know if the album Lorca had a mission. This album has a mission,
Especially with which I teased at the very beginning, didn't bring up. The song lengths are so short. Like you don't hit record and then dick around and experiment for just 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So like the fact that these
got to be tight.
Yeah, these are short songs. Clearly, no, these are methodically written. They're fucking batshit, but they're thought out. They're that's why, and it's a short album. It's like 36 minutes. It feels really contained, intentional, and absolutely insane. It's wonderful stuff.
If you like noise rock, psychedelic,
Yep.
Free jazz, Ornette Coleman, I'm throwing a lot of things out there because I think it will unite weirdos, not normal people, but
No, we don't need normal people. We're tired of normal people. Just the weirdos. I didn't mention the issues over the rights and the release with this album also applied to Blue Afternoon, because that was also on Straight. But on this album, we have Maury Baker on percussion, who was also a percussionist and organist for Ars Nova and worked with Janis Joplin. We got shocker, Bunk Gardner, great name.
Hell yeah.
On alto flute and tenor sax, who was a woodwind player for the Mothers of Invention. Shocker. You got Buzz Gardner. He was Bunk's brother. Yep. And of course, he also played with Mothers of Invention.
Buzz and Bunk.
And according to Tom, both brothers make minor uncredited appearances on Chartmaster Replica.
There it is.
Holy shit. I mean, you don't get this many similarities with the crazy era of Beefheart and Zappa without literally having overlapping people in. I mean, it's wild stuff. And of course, you get engineer Stan Agel, who worked with Frank Zappa. The overlap is just impossible to fucking chronicle. But Lee Underwood has lots of good things to say about this album.
As he should.
So this is what he says about this album. He says, when Starsailor came out in late 69, early 1970, it was a remarkable departure from mainstream pop music. Hey, you don't say.
That is also interesting because when you talk about your Beatles, your Rolling Stones and the Who's, you think like, man, these like wacky psychedelic cats are doing like a White Album or rock operas, or like, oh, they were like, sure, and it's great. I like
those were
it.
bold and great albums.
But then
this is a step up. Maybe before, but also, sure, it's not going to win the hearts of millions. It is actually going to do the complete opposite. It's going to alienate millions, but it was braver and more difficult and way more experimental. If you like experimental, this is like experimental.
I think I also bring it up because I think those bands would like appreciate the fuck out of this album.
Definitely. Like you can't really compare it to like a White Album, because White Album it's like, oh yeah, these are still incredibly beautifully written songs. Whereas the songs on here are like fucking just wild.
Yeah.
It's just sheer wild insanity. But Lee goes on to say, he says, it used none of the blues cliches of the day, and Tim's singing stood head and shoulders above anybody else. Not only the astonishing beauty of his voice, but the amazing ways in which he utilized his voice as a musical instrument. Lee is... His way with words when describing his love for Tim and his music is unparalleled.
On point, yes.
He goes on to say the music itself was conceptually rooted in avant-garde jazz and modern classical music, and vocally innovative. Tim often sang nonverbal sounds, swooping, yodeling, yelping, and cooing. Mainstream audiences of that day simply did not know what to make of it. Since that time, listeners the world over have heard zillions of interesting and sometimes provocative approaches to sound in general and music in particular. I think Tim's Starsailor music will delight and shiver the spines of modern listeners, as evidenced on this My Fleeting House DVD. I think it's a live DVD with some performances of this era.
I'm going to buy that DVD right now.
Hell yes, dude. Hell yes. And he closes it with great composition, brilliant singing, ultra modern, and eminently accessible to contemporary ears. And then Tom adds that this guy really knows how to sell the shit out of Tim Buckley. He's so eloquent with how he describes. Let him toast this podcast. Jesus Christ,
he really should. Also, if you're watching, he's
literally buying the fucking thing right now.
Yes.
Oh, holy shit! Yeah, a man who puts his money where his mouth is. Look at that. Take note, ladies. One thing, Tom, he noted here. It's a little connective note here. He says, the British group Starsailor, formed around 2000, were unsurprisingly named after this album. They had a few hits in the UK and were pretty big there for a few years. He says, I remember Silence is Easy as the big one, although they had a hit in France and Belgium with Forward to the Floor in 2004. Jesus Christ, what a sentence that is. Forward to the Floor in 2004. Anyway, Phil Spector.
There we go.
Purchase, order, place. Damn, look at that. It's fast. Phil Spector produced some of the Science is Easy album from the band Starsailor before getting fired, and it was his last recorded work before he murdered Lana Clarkson. That's fucking holy shit, dude.
Real quick, we were talking about people who, like musicians who lived in proximity.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Alhambra. He killed her in Alhambra, which is the city very nearby for both of us.
Man,
wild. And it's not like a known city. It's a very small town.
It's part of why he lived there. He's just like, yeah, no one comes here. Yeah. I can go to the store and it's like a Chinese community.
It's heavily Chinese community.
Yeah, no one they don't care about Phil Spector.
A lot of Alhambra is just all literally Chinese store, like no English. But yeah, that's fucking mind blowing. Also, no fucking witnesses for when he murders. But this is the full circle thing. He says this takes us full circle as Jack Nietzsche did the arrangements on the first Buckley album, who was a longtime collaborator of Spector. Everything's connected, baby. Starsailor, the band, Phil Spector, Jack Nietzsche, fucking Frank Zappa. death. Everything's connected.
Alhambra, California.
Alhambra, California.
I'm going to check out this band, Starsailor. I'm sure they don't sound anything like the album, but
Yeah, they might be Britpoppy. I imagine you probably wouldn't like them.
probably not.
But one
Pop
song.
is not my thing.
Give one song a shot and you'll know probably. But yeah, Alex's best, my personal favorite. Oh, fucking Wild Ride. Basically probably the reason Nick requested this episode is probably for this album, if I had to guess.
I wanted to give this album everything, but finding out the next era was called Sex Funk, I'm like, I gotta give it up. I gotta give it up.
I
there.
didn't know it was called Sex Funk.
Yeah.
It does make it a lot more entertaining that it's called that. Holy shit. But time to move on to the Sex Funk era. Holy shit. So, like we said, this didn't do alienated a lot of people. He formed the Sex Funk band, and we have a whole 2-year break, which is pretty not. We don't get too many of those in this discography. So here we go, baby. This is 1972's Greetings from LA.
This is so jarring after.
ZZ Top, dude. What the fuck is happening? What did we go through? It's like Starsailor was a fucking dream.
It was a dream.
To the Meat Rack Tavern,
Bar rock, bluesy bar rock.
and I found
So
myself
a big old healthy woman.
Oh, lordy.
That lyric was why I wasn't disappointed. I'm like, all right.
Went on over to sweet talk that girl. Move on in. Oh, I whisper, come on and move with me, move with me, move with me, move with me.
You got the fucking R&B backup vocals. This really upset me. It could be worse. I wasn't like, it could be worse, but what the fuck, man?
If you tell me you're married,
You tell me you're married. I forgot about this lyric.
I can be your kid man when your husband ain't home.
Oh my god, dude! Like those lyrics are so much more sleazy, knowing that he left out on his kid. It's
The lyrics saved this album for me.
this album sucks so bad.
No,
I fucking hate this album.
no, this is his second best Sex Funk.
Oh my god.
The lyrics, yeah, if they weren't so fucking sleazy, I'd probably hate this. But yeah, this is talking about banging fat women and meeting kids when their fathers aren't home, and the Cajun vocals.
He's got the Cajun vocals, man.
Man, and then like Sweet Surrender, I thought we were just going like full sleaze, but there's like
Yeah.
a string section in.
Dude, the intro is so unusual, and it has like hints of Latin. I mean, there's a lot of actually hints of Latin throughout the album, but on that song is the first time we get it. And then here's the thing: that song was almost a good song to me.
Almost, it was.
It just bores me. Around when does it come in? About a minute and a half in, it comes in with such a fucking ass kicking section. Incredible, fucking hard hitting riff. What, like maybe his most hard hitting riff maybe ever.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is fucking amazing. And then it moves on, and for the rest of the fucking 6 and almost 7 minute song, it doesn't go there again.
Mm-hmm.
And it broke my heart. So I eventually just became a total disappointment for me. Although his vocals are still extremely entertaining.
Yes.
His vocals, I don't like the Sex Funk era. His vocals are so good all the time.
They are. And then the best song on the album, Devil Eyes.
It is. It's not my thing, but I cannot say it's bad.
It's not my thing either, because he's got a foot fetish.
Is that what the song's about?
He talks about something about feet, and then he talks
I
about
missed all of this, dude.
he talks about doing something called a monkey rub. What the fuck is a monkey rub?
Finding out right now.
It sounds overtly sexual, like something you would hear Leon Phelps, the ladies man, say.
It's gonna be completely inaccurate, but we're going Urban Dictionary.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure it's gonna have like a million different. A monkey rub. When a fat teach rubs her butt against something as they walk past. What? wait.
Mate.
What?
Maybe it's this when a fat girl grazes past you.
Maybe a monkey rub.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, when a fat teach rubs her butt against something as they walk past, that's probably it.
Yeah. They didn't have twerking. Is their volume on?
It's
no.
The volume's on.
Okay. I got past it.
Are you gonna find you're gonna find the actual lyric?
Yeah.
Monkey rub. What the fuck? What a bizarre album.
It almost sounds like it's a slur too.
A little bit.
Oh no! This is way more sexual than a big girl rubbing up against you.
I like to think the whole album is just about big girls.
I probably is. I'm down between the sheets. I do the monkey rub. Yeah, it is about big girls.
I do the monkey rub. I'm gonna fucking use that, dude.
Down between the sheets. Oh, that big old girl do the monkey rub. Look at that big old girl do the monkey rub.
Dude, this is the poet that gave us Goodbye and Hello and the insane musicality and avant-garde shit in Starsailor.
Oh,
come on, girl, do the monkey rub.
This gets so much better. I'm so glad I had to look this up. A woman, pull down those black silk stockings down. Well, I'm going to lick all around those stretch marks. Wet the tongue between the toes. I've never heard anyone.
Two Lab Crew, eat your heart out.
I've never heard anyone talk, let alone sing about licking stretch marks.
I've never heard that. That line he's a fucking innovator. He's a saint.
I'm telling you, the lyrics fucking save the shit out of this.
I take it back. This album fucking rips. Dude.
It's just an ode to banging big women.
Just fucking licking stretch marks. Dude, I can't believe how funny these lyrics are.
Dude,
I can't believe how funny they are.
I listen after this stretch, I was like, I need to listen to Wheeler Walker. Like, it's so sexually charged. Like,
this is sincere Wheeler Walker. I mean, because Wheeler Walker is a sincere artist, but the lyrics are comedy. This is, listen, girl.
Oh no, this isn't an act.
It doesn't read as comedy. It reads like pervy, but like it makes it so much funnier.
I love sleazy music, and I didn't realize we were on 169. I would have probably tried to pick another overtly sexual band.
Oh yeah, but we did it, dude.
The Starsailor guided us in the right direction.
Dude, he Starsailed us to glory.
Fucking licking stretch marks.
Amazing. Fucking, oh man. All right.
How come the song's not called Monkey Rub?
Yeah, and was it Devil Eyes? Yeah, no, Monkey Rub is what it's, we're honorarily renaming it. But following that, we got Hong Kong Bar, which I think is actually, ironically, the most interesting thing here musically, because it's a minimal bluesy thing, which I find usually not interesting at all.
Yeah.
But I found it to be, I like the way it's done here. And then the closer, Make It Right.
Dude.
I actually kind of like it.
Make It Right is cool because I bet too many people don't listen to ELO, and you're like, I wonder what ELO would sound like if they were scumbags. This is the song.
It's a good song.
Yeah,
you're right. The string section is super ELO sounding.
Very Jeff Lynne like.
Yeah,
and
totally. Yeah, where it has almost where you see where it's turning into disco, that type of string. Well written, good song, good closer.
There's probably better lyrics on there than any ELO song.
Oh, no doubt about it, dude.
I'm gonna need to sit down. Do I want to change my mind? No, I'm going to stick with
fucking A, dude. So this was a huge letdown, and I don't think it's a great album, especially musically, but you take into account these fucking radical sex funk lyrics, you know what? There's something to be had here.
It's a good time to be had here.
Holy crap, dude. So
I feel like, yeah, like this is just for me. Like, oh, you like kind of weird avant-garde stuff? Oh, do you like overtly raunchy songs?
ridiculous raunchy.
Here's Tim Buckley.
I can't believe this guy's career. It fucking doesn't make any sense.
The only way this would be better is if they let him call himself Tim Buckley during this era. That's the only way it gets better.
Dude, Tim Buckley. Dude, oh my God. If the missed opportunity. Dude, you would have been a legend.
I'm going to call this era the
Tim Buckley. The Tim Buckley era.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I didn't realize how sexual these albums were.
If you have overtly pervy lyrics, I will find them and I will gravitate to them.
Oh man, that's great. So on this album, we got Vanetta Fields, who was a former Ikeette for Ike and Tina Turner. R.I.P. Tina Turner, who
R.I.P.
Very recently died.
Went up to that big, beautiful Thunderdome in the sky.
Clyde King was a session singer on fucking Sweet Home Alabama. Very interesting overlap.
This is a better album.
For sure. Chuck Rainey on bass, who played with Aretha Franklin, Steely Dan, and Etta James. You got Jerry Goldstein, who's a member of the Strangeloves, the I Want Candy band, former manager of Sly Stone.
Hell yeah.
And co-writer of My Boyfriend's Back, which was made famous by the Angels in 1963. And of course, you got Cal Schenkel, who did the album design, who did a lot of album covers for Frank Zappa, as well as Trout Mask Replica, and a few Tom Waits albums.
There we go.
You have to have the Zappa connection. But yeah. Sex funk, dude, fucking licking stretch marks and sucking toes, and
monkey rubs,
and the monkey rub. Holy shit! Musically, I don't like it at all, though. But on to the next.
It's for me.
It's for Alex. It's funky. Here we go, baby. 2 more left. This is 1973's Sefronia.
I think this album is a regression.
Why not enough sex talk?
If you like the sex funk, there's not really a lot here. If you like the weird avant-garde stuff, there's not a lot here. There's none.
I think this is a beautiful opener, but it is also a cover from Fred Neil, old folk singer. Or maybe he wrote it for him. I don't know exactly. But I think it's a very nice song.
If this was earlier, might be dope.
It fits in with the early stuff. Very croony. But Tim sounds so good on the song.
Do you ever?
Very romantic sounding vocals here.
This old world will never change.
You also hear, if you compare his voice here to some of the earlier albums, his technique has actually gotten way stronger. Like his vibrato is way more like even.
Yeah.
Less forced.
Can't change it back again.
Almost like Tom Jones in a way.
Yeah. You can play this at a wedding.
Yeah.
In the sea.
Well, this album is more of, the same, except funkier. I like it more than musically. I like it more than the last one. Maybe I can't say that much more. I feel like this whole sex funk era is one bad bag of sex funk.
Worst, least favorite.
All right, dude.
Not enough sex funk.
Whoa. He's still playing. I don't blame you. I don't like it at all. And there's stuff here that I do enjoy, like that opener. But all in all, I was just sad that there wasn't anything I haven't heard before. Everything here I've heard before.
Yeah, like even something like Quicksand. It's a fun song.
Actually, that's one of the strongest songs here. But it's still like, well, we've heard plenty of songs like this. It's a cool song, but it's like, yeah.
Or even like Because of You's like, that's a fun, like smooth disco song.
That one actually reminds me a lot of Tom Jones.
Yeah.
It's 70 as fuck. It's very dark, but it's got some disco strings and hi-hats in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's dancey. It's not my flavor exactly, but it's well done.
The only good song, well, not only good song, but like the title track is cool.
Which of the title tracks?
Oh, sorry.
It's cut into two parts. There's after the Asclepiades of Father Kafka, and then there's the King's Chain.
Fuck.
So here's the difference. The one with the long Father Kafka or Vater Kafka, whatever the fuck it's called.
They don't have the lyrics. Whichever one, I thought it was one track. Whichever one where he sings about dark nipples.
I don't know exactly, because they're.
I'm gonna say it's probably the King's Chain. The
King's Chain is the more the one that sounds like the rest of the album, which I don't like. It's just regular glossy 70s. But the after Kafka, I don't know why I was. You know what, dude? Fucking, I read it from Apple. I think it's all stupid and
all
jumbled up. Let me double check. Yeah, I was saying Vater Kafka because on Apple Music it says Vater. It's after Kafka, but they just put Vater. On Apple Music, they wrote Vater.
So weird.
Morons. Sorry. Anyway, after Kafka, that one I think is one of the best songs on here. It's entirely carried by Tim's voice. It's very passionate. It's very interesting. It's more I don't know, it feels deeper than the rest and less like standard soul or folk or whatever the fuck this is. But it's only like 3 minutes. It's more of like a lengthy intro to the King's Chain, the follow up. You know, two halves of the same song. But yeah, the King's Chain is just not very interesting to me. Closes with Sally Go Round the Roses, and I am so fucking bored at that point. I can't do it.
That sounds like Maya Rudolph when she does her like comedy singing like Sally. Oh, I can.
Yeah.
But if you've seen like Big Mouth, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
We also got the Tom Waits cover of Martha, which I was listening to it. I'm like, oh, this is actually nice. It's got a full orchestral intro. Oh, right. It's a cover. It's a Tom Waits song. That makes more sense. It's like it's just straight up piano ballad.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't care for, I know I'd recognize your face.
Fucking stinks. Boring, forgettable ballad. Stone in Love absolutely broke me. Shitty, ridiculous funk.
That song could have been saved if it was depraved enough.
Oh, right, of course.
But it's just
in love.
It's got nothing.
Yeah.
It's got nothing on what I just heard on Greetings from LA.
Peanut Man is some silly Steely Dan bullshit. Fucking can't stand it.
I didn't realize most of these things were covers. That explains a lot.
I didn't realize it either. Yeah, a lot.
That explains a lot. This is not a...
Yeah, it's
kind of a shame this is considered canon.
Apparently this is considered his most, according to this quote, his most overproduced and underwhelming effort.
Which I agree with.
Yeah, everything that's not a cover is mostly co-written by Larry Beckett and Buckley. The only song solely written by Buckley is Stone in Love. No, and Quicksand. Quicksand and Stone in Love.
And the title. Well, you're this soul.
Yeah, everything else is co-written by Beckett or a cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just fucking boring, and it feels so deflated. There's like, even if there's energetic moments, like with a song like Quicksand, as a whole, something's sorely missing. You feel like the fatigue in him.
Yeah.
Even though his voice still sounds great, the songs are just, there's nothing there.
He's not done yet, baby.
He's not done yet. One thing I forgot to mention on the last album, but it applies to this one. They say overproduced, but easily the best production he's ever had. Clean and crisp and clear.
It doesn't sound bad, and I guess when you're doing these croony orchestral pop cover songs, you need good production.
And it does sound nice, even though I love his voice. it's nice to have him balanced in the mix instead of overpowering everything. It feels a lot more comfy, even though the songs really don't help. They're not the greatest things ever.
No, I think he should have gone full Cajun man on all these songs.
Yeah. Oh boy. You know this cover? He looks like the biggest sleazebag on this cover, though. Out of all the covers, I think he looks the most like a douchebag.
Yeah, that's not a flattering photo.
Yeah, he looks like a guy who's done some home wrecking.
That looks like a guy who carries around Spanish fly.
Oh yeah. And but today though, like in 2023, still carries around Spanish fly. Still thinking it works.
Still calls it that. Yeah.
But anyway, Alex is Worsley's favorite. Not great in. I guess what are they considered? Not great in. I won't be coming back to this one. I don't. No, thank you. But we got one more, baby. One more. Last one. Oh boy. Sure hope you like funk and sex.
It's back. It's fucking
back, baby. This is 1974's Look at the Fool.
Each and every day.
And the production is back to being shitty.
I don't even care because those vocals. His like Otis Redding, like this is what Jackie Moon listens to.
This is pretty fucky. This is a very fucky song. I like this song. It's a pretty.
I already knew this was going to be a better album. This is like 30 seconds in.
This is he's almost doing like a Tom Waits kind of thing here.
Yeah.
He's
doing a lot.
Yeah.
The years won't be kind. I love you more than I care about myself.
This is a man.
It's a great song.
This is like I would have loved to hear Charles Bradley cover this song.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Charles would have, like every cover song.
Killed it. Oh, man. So, say it.
Personal favorite.
Worsley's favorite.
Personal favorite. You're fucking kidding.
Yeah. This fucking album destroyed me. I hate that song is great. Every other song, I can't. Every other song I can't take. No, well, except for Who Could Deny You?
Who could deny you? Obviously Mike can. Fucking
sure can.
Bring it on up. He's singing about getting his thighs sucked on. Like hell yeah. Hell yeah, you're a weirdo. I love Helpless because
Helpless Blues.
It's maybe
called Helpless on Apple. I guess it's Helpless Blues.
One of the two. Yeah. Because he's singing about making love like a skin cat across the highway. Like that sounds fucking violent.
That's very violent. I really don't like the song, but even still, his vocals are fucking amazing. Like throughout everything.
After that snooze fest on the last album,
he really is killing it. He sounds phenomenal. It's the songs that I fucking hate. It's all funk. I'm not a big funk guy.
Yeah, no. But
if the thing is, like I said before, the best I can always be turned. I can be turned by some quality funk. Yeah. This doesn't feel like quality funk to me. Tell me this is not quality funk. You can't tell me that.
It's not fair. I wasn't ready to defend it like that. I was ready to defend it as a deprived, sexually charged.
Okay, fair enough. On those grounds, continue.
Yeah. Man. And then I bought up Spanish Fly because Wanda Lou. He like actually talks about having Spanish Fly.
Oh my God.
And I'm pretty sure he's singing about butt sex. And then at a certain point, I have to go for my low hanging fruit. I'm like, this song should have been called Wanda Poon. Am I right? Am I right?
Oh, Lordy. You know that song? It's funny because it's called Wanda Lou. It's just a shittier Louie, all but funky.
You mean better?
I don't. Well, I don't love Louie Louie, so maybe
It's a better Louie Louie.
it's certainly more depraved.
Fucking down in the streets. He says like the streets are moaning. I don't know what that means.
Oh man, I kind of want to know what that means.
He also talks about in America, there's plenty of room at the top for everybody. Not no more, Buckley. Not no more.
Not no more.
That's a different America.
Oh yeah.
And then Freeway Blues. He goes, I'm convinced Dave Matthews heard that song and he's like, I want to sing like that and just that.
Oh my God.
It's the most like hubba hooba booba da booba da. Like
he does a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Freeway Blues is truly terrible. I mean, it's truly terrible.
I like it.
Tijuana Moon killed me. But it's like I couldn't knock it much more than the rest. It's just in my soul, it's atrocious funk. And I didn't realize this was a sex funk album. That's my bad. That's my bad. I didn't know that it was a sex funk album.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
I need to go back and
in a different light.
Because I glossed over. I forgot to read the stuff on the last album.
Yeah.
But Tom noted that fucking Roy Cicala or Cicala, I can't pronounce his name. Sorry. He's one of the engineers, and he's one of those guys that worked on every famous thing. Hendrix, Sinatra, Four Seasons, John Lennon, Aerosmith, like every
Bowie.
Yeah, huge. And there's like a bunch of engineers on here, like maybe 5 more in addition to him. And Tom shrewdly pointed out, because I don't think he listened to that album. He says, I could be wrong, but this many engineers reads to me like efforts to fix a shitty product. And
he would be right.
He would be absolutely correct. In this album, well, for one, it sounds way worse. There's not so many heavy hitters on this one.
I would love if this album was just recorded in his bedroom.
Especially with how sexual it is, I would love that. The last album, as well as this one.
Also, all the members are over 250 pounds.
They're funk, of course they are. The last album, as well as this one, were both released on Disc Reet Records, which is a sub-label of Warner Brothers. And founded by, you guessed it, Frank Zappa and Herb Cohen.
There we go.
So the connections stake to the very, very end. So is it just the sex lyrics that makes this your favorite?
No, I think I almost like in the moment changed it to Greetings from LA, but I think I do like the music here better. I'm a funk guy. I like the funk. I would say his vocals are more like unhinged and all over the place here, where like Greetings from LA, you're getting the more like
it's watered down. Yeah.
That like Cajun, like ZZ Top, like those type vocals. And this is just like his vocals are all over the place. The lyrics are probably better on Greetings from LA.
Okay.
But I think I do like the music better here.
Okay, so it's not just the novelty of the wackiness.
I mean, it's
a big part of it.
I can't deny it. And yeah, I'm just like I have to give it up for something this era.
I suppose someone here had to.
Someone has to. And looking at the reviews, I don't think this is a well-liked album.
Absolutely. And you could tell, judging by the cover alone, like, yeah, it's the only one that's not a photo, except for like Lorca, but it looks...
I love how all the album covers are kind of interchangeable. Like, it doesn't fucking matter.
But this, for some reason, this one feels the jankiest. Like, it looks like him, but it doesn't look like exactly like him.
It's like a shitty painting.
He almost looks like Michael Landon a little bit.
Yeah.
Like he looks a little off. So it just seems a little janky. Having said that, there still are a couple heavy hitters on here. We have Mike Melvoin, who is another prolific studio musician who worked with Sinatra, Barbra Streisand, Tom Waits, and then Earl Palmer on drums. Apparently, he was, according to his wiki entry, one of the inventors of rock and roll.
Oh shit! You invented rock and roll?
Look,
Oh yeah, that
dude.
just looking at his face. Never mind. He invented rock and roll.
He has the face of a man who invented rock and roll.
Yes.
It's him and Ike Turner. They invented rock and roll.
Yeah, it's the same way like Charles Bradley. I was like, this motherfucker's calling himself a victim of love, and then I saw
Look at his face. Oh, this man is.
No, Earl Palmer absolutely invented rock and roll.
And last big note about this album: the only one without Lee Underwood. No Lee Underwood, and no explanation. Don't know why, but I imagine it's because this last final era. This was like when things were getting a lot worse.
Sure.
And I don't believe this went over well. I don't think this album did that well.
Again, this feels like very specific for me.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely. Apparently, because of that's so funny that he didn't just do bad because these are like arguably pretty not great albums, but because of the sex funk lyrics, he couldn't get airplay. So he was just like a sex renegade to this point in time.
Dude, it's like I'm gonna do a Mount Rushmore. I got two. It's like Tim Buckley and Uncle Luke from 2 Live Crew on like sexually charged,
hilarious lyrics.
Yeah.
I mean, the Kings, man.
Yeah. Cool Keith might be on there for me. But,
all right. Yeah, fair enough. That's not bad. But holy shit, man.
What a ride.
What a ride. Alex's personal favorite, my worst and least favorite, but
Love Me Sexy.
couldn't have said it better myself.
You could put Love Me Sexy on this album and no one would notice.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, not long in July 29th, 1975, at 28 years of age. That's where he died.
Dude, no offense to the like 27 and under club, but like none of those people are as prolific as this guy.
With the range and the journey
and the depravity.
Sure, some of them got depraved, but not like this.
In real life,
this man made it known. He made it a part of his legacy. My boy Jeff, this is for you.
Anytime you can introduce me to some weird slang I didn't know existed.
Fucking monkey rub. Oh, I love it.
Okay.
Apparently, even during his career, some of Tim Buckley's songs were covered by other artists, but naturally, this continued a lot after he died. And Tom, he said, I'll leave the final words here from Lee Underwood in 2007. And this is where the man is just away with words. He says, I believe that Tim Buckley's music is timeless. It remains beautiful and potent in every era.
Even the sex funk era.
And some would say especially. It will continue to deeply move people as they discover him, and will continue to enchant new listeners every year.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. Not wrong at all. So thank you so much for listening and watching and for hanging out with us. Thank you, Nick, for suggesting this fucking wonderful, wonderful episode. Let's do a little recap.
For me, best Starsailor. Underrated as all hell. Worst, least favorite,
Sefronia.
Sefronia is serving no one. No one wants that. And then personal favorite, Look at the Fool. Fucking sex deprived, underrated masterpiece for the depravity.
For the depravity.
Yeah.
For me, Goodbye and Hello, best. Of all the folk stuff, the most consistent, the crazy good writing, dark, sad, moving, emotional, powerful. Love it. Starsailor, personal favorite. An experimental fucking gem that it was eons ahead of its time and insanely wild, and it holds up. Look at the Fool. Worst, least favorite. Sex funk, but with pretty shitty average funk all the way through.
His vocals to the end. Even if you hate these albums,
he is a fucking angelic vocalist. He's one of the best, one of the most unique voices.
I hope someone's sucking on his thighs in the up in heaven.
I hope so too. I think we all hope that.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for listening and watching and hanging out. Be sure to fucking help us out. Like the video if you like it. Comment, talk some shit. Don't care really, but just do what you want to do, okay? Be your own person, but help us out while you're at it, all right? Follow me on all social media at Panda Monkey and Alex on Instagram at
Every album, Alex.
Please follow our history guy, Tom Osman, who does all the dirt digging for us, as well as plenty of other shit. He does a lot for us. We have some very fun stuff coming up in the future that he's already secured for us. Yeah, follow him on all social media at Tom Osman Sounds and all his music stuff at tomosmansounds.com. His Substack, tomosman.substack.com, where he writes about music, as well as interviews a bunch of cool musicians and artists. And then his latest album, Industrial State of Mind, which he put out earlier this year with Existent Non-Existent, and there's links to all that in the description. Please check out my debut EP, Powder Monkey, which is it's coming up on its year anniversary.
Feels like yesterday.
Sure does. Took way too long to fucking record, I'll tell you that. But yeah, check that out. Link in the description. And not last but not least, everybody, patreon.com/everyalbumever. That's where you go. That's where Nick went to request this episode. Bonus episodes, you get to see our schedules in advance. You get to vote on polls to decide who we cover next. You get to join our Discord, be a part of our community, as well as suggest our EAE singles episodes. And if you're tier 2, then you can suggest a full discography, just like Tim Buckley, just like Nick did. And it's fun stuff. It's worth it. It takes a while for us to get to it, but it is cool. So do that, please, and thank you. Now, closing song. What the fuck are we doing?
The song Starsailor.
You want to close out with something that weird?
Yeah. Hell yeah, I do.
It's what we love, goddammit. We don't care if you like it. This is Starsailor from Starsailor. Good luck. Thank you so much for listening and watching. See ya.